We are back. The streak continues. The streak continues. How long has it been? I mean, it's been a year, but I've stuck to this Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedule for a while. That being said, next week there are going to be 2 days off. Artist Journal, October 5th, 2023. Broadcasting from a kind of a gray fall, autumn, Berlin, Germany. My name's Adrian Pocobelli. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, I guess, yeah, show note. I will be gone. Wednesday Twitter Space I will do from London. So that will be exciting. We'll be doing a London, New York Twitter Space. How exciting is that? And still working on the guests there, but I think they're good. And after that, I'll take the Thursday and the Friday off because I have commitments that are beyond my control. So we'll have 2 shows next week if it all goes well, and then the Twitter Space, and then a few days off, which will be wonderful. And then I will be on the road. After I come back from there, then it'll be the portable screens and everything gotten all ready here. So let's get into it. It's late in the day here, and there's a ton to go through. So we're going to be speedy and snappy here. Martin Brooke. Remember Martin Brooke, who we looked at the other day? I was familiar with the name, but I was reading Nevsun 1914, if I remember the name correctly, interview. We're going to see some of their work today, so we can double check that. I was reading an interview with Nev 1914. That's who it was. And one of the artists that Nev really liked, one of their favorite artists, was Martin Brooke. So I was like, maybe I should take another look, because I had recently discovered Nev 1914. Let's see. And I have to say, it is pretty awesome. And I'm kind of back to that, what I very loosely call alternative digital art or indie digital art. And for me, this is just another example. And let me bring up the title here. The title is Garden Room, That Dream That I Can't Remember. And what it is for me, this is a subtle work, because if you're not looking that closely, or if you don't kind of come in with an idea that, oh, maybe this is kind of special, you might just look at it and think this is kind of weird and move on. This is kind of different and move on. But then when you start getting the social proof, when other artists are recommending, and then you take a closer look, then you start to notice that things are not what they seem on a first pass, because all of a sudden you start seeing this great experimentation here. I mean, what is this? This painting kind of looks like it was put through a video processor, doesn't it? You can almost see the snow here, and we have a clue on why that might actually be happening in a different artist's work, which we'll see shortly here. But isn't this interesting? Another new... what should we call it? Another new joining, another new mingling. That's even better. A new mingling of different mediums here, because we're in the business of alchemy, which could be seen as a kind of mental alchemy, which could be seen as a form of magic. Shout out to magician. Because we are mingling, and that is kind of mingle, that almost brings you back to Empedocles in ancient Greek philosophy. That is why I use the word mingling. It's kind of as far as I understand, that's often translated, mixing as kind of mingling. Anyways, we are mingling mediums here. And what do we see? Well, it looks like to me like digital painting of a certain kind here, but filled with snow. And we saw this in reverse, maybe not in reverse. We saw it with LB and other artists, at least one other artist, where using Mario Paint to make a work, and then perhaps after putting it into a analog video processing, right? Only possible in the digital medium. Or I suppose you could do this analog, but let's put it this way, only possible in a video medium. And I would argue at the end of the day, even if it's using analog works, inherently digital, especially in the brushwork here. And this, so there's something kind of special and beautiful about this, and you see it here. Just really interesting experimentation. You know, with this noise in the background, this kind of pixel spray of a certain kind here, and this star here, which looks more like video than, we're mixing. It becomes more interesting. And again, this looks more like it's video here that has been kind of superimposed, which is part of the snow background that we see here, this sort of TV snow in the background here. Let's keep just moving through it, and you see how it turns this, interesting block here into a very textured, rich block. We see the noise here of the kind of glitch of a certain kind, and then we see this interesting brushwork here, and so you put it all together, right? And then you look at the other work, which we will look at in a second, and you take a step back, and you start saying, this is pretty interesting, isn't it? It's pretty interesting. It's aesthetically, it is pushing the frontiers technically. Again, kind of mixing painting and video. We haven't seen that much of that. We've seen hints. Again, LB's Super Mario through analog processing. But in a weird way, and maybe this is the word I was looking for, this is a kind of fusion of video and digital painting. Of video and painting, we could argue. Interesting. And the colors are quite interesting. And perhaps why it's so significant for me personally, before we move on here, is it feels like a different kind of experience. It's a novel aesthetic experience. And this is, we've talked about this, what is it, The Nature of Technology. There's a famous book, the author I can't remember, The Nature of Technology, and I've brought this up before, that one of the characteristics or one of the properties or traits of how technology evolves is combination. It's taking something from over here, this component from over here, and this component from over here, combining them together, and all of a sudden you have, I think the example they use in the book is a jet engine, right? You take this microprocessor here, you take this other piece of, machinery, and all of a sudden you have a jet engine. Technology evolves. And so, and there is, a value in something being new, right? And being different and being, frankly, unlike anything else. And I think, look at the middle here. Look at the middle. I don't even know what this is. Like, look at how, again, and we're also back to this idea of the courage and the boldness that an artist needs to take to actually make these kind of decisions. You have to really be kind of visionary, I would argue. You have to go a little bit beyond how everybody's thinking and go, that's it, and I'm going to put it in public, and I'm going to I declare it art. I declare it thus, right? So let's take a look. And edition of 11, only 3 left. Only 3 left. It was slow to go. This came out October 4th. Get it while you can. Get it while you can. And I say that as much to myself as to the rest of us. I think I only have 5 Tez in my wallet. I'll have to check. Here's another one by Martin Brooke on Foundation. So again, very interesting experimental, almost a NUV 1914 kind of feel in the frame here, isn't it? And then here you see a kind of room with almost like projectors on it. It's, again, it's pretty wild stuff upon closer inspection here. But it requires, I'd argue, a closer inspection. And there is the title here, what looks like, abstract ASCII, perhaps ASCII text of a certain kind, some kind of text. Beautiful here. 0.25 ETH, and that is the reserve. And this was just sold for 0.06 ETH to Samdek. So this was just on Twitter. So Martin Brooke just made a sale here just the other day, a couple of days ago. So just interesting work also on ETH. So interesting artist. The scene never disappoints. And again, here's the, look at this. Look how bizarre this is, And I say that, Martin, if you're watching, I say that in the most endearing way. Look at how unusual this is. That's pretty amazing. And look at how it kind of fits so beautifully on the screen here. So just very, very, very interesting work. Kind of looks like physical has been incorporated into this one. So also interesting. So continuing on, big shout out and thank you to everybody that came out to Psycho Ihara yesterday on the Twitter space. It was a ton of fun. It was super interesting. And we sort of delved into the topic of digital art and VJing. And Saiko's handle is Score. And I do follow Saiko. That is a Twitter glitch. And she has a workshop, actually, this Saturday, if you want to learn Touch Designer. So just so you know, and so check that out if you're interested. And here is Saiko. Next week, I'll do a collaboration drop with Mint.fun. Thank you so much. I'm Mpoa for an amazing opportunity, and here it is. So just a hint of, Touch Designer and what Saiko works on here. So again, big shout out and thank you to Saiko for showing up. And a big thank you to Salieri AI, Pocobelli's Spam Artist Journal, Spam to be Censored. So Salieri seems to have a spam theme, and so I have made the cut here. And there is the show, hilariously, and I don't remember that painting. So maybe being creative, perhaps, with the painting on the left. I think it's hilarious. So anyways, thank you for that. Open edition, only 25 Tezos cents. Get it while you can. Salieri.ai, big shout out, and always thank you for the comments. Speaking of comments, last show. Tornado Rodriguez, oh my God, Pocobelli, we Argentinians keep on conquering Artist Journal. There is a lot to be said for that. And we've discussed it before, maybe 100 episodes, 50 episodes ago. A lot of you, maybe some of you remember. Why is that? Is Argentina and Turkey, why do they basically punch above their weight, so to speak, in the global art community? I mean, it's astonishing how many artists we see out of Argentina and Turkey. And my conclusion is there is a financial aspect to this, which is these are countries with currency problems. So therefore, the population has had to go to crypto because out of no choice, really, if it's not easy to, sometimes it's hard to get dollars in these countries and everything. So a lot of them have resorted to crypto. So that's what I suspect. And then all of a sudden they're on crypto, 2021 happens. Hey, let's start making art. And all of a sudden you have in these countries, very, if you put it this way, when I say punching above their weight class, what I'm saying is, if you look at the population of Argentina and Turkey, and then you look at the amount of art that's coming out from both those countries compared to the rest of the world, it's astonishing what's going on there. So you want to go, what is the cause? And, so a very important, finally on this point, just a very important thing to notice of the influence of finance on art, on the business of art, and how market forces can drive art forward, which is why I would argue this scene is so incredibly rich. While the traditional art world has largely been kind of, locked in and, one could argue, somewhat gate-kept for, here, there's a free market. It's got an engine, a financial engine, which I'd argue is the beating heart of this scene. So, it has to be given its due. The financial component of art really has to be given its due. Look at the Renaissance. The Medici were bankers, right? So we can't forget that. As we, maybe as this scene evolves and it turns more into grants and whatever, we have to remember what is powering this, what is driving this forward, right? I'm so happy to see so many artists that are from my land and I know them. This is awesome. And yes, I think that's just totally cool. Great to hear from you, Tornado, and wonderful work that you're putting out. Bulls, the 91 Woods. So nice to see the Pixel Network taking shape. So that is totally awesome. Glad. And I just added a couple of the two last videos. I need to work it into my process. It was just kind of a 0.1 draft, but now I want to get it where I post the video. I put the video on the Pixel Network and just, keep iterating as we like to do. Score. Saiko, thank you so much, Pocobelli. Can't wait to talk to you. And it was a great talk. Thank you, Saiko. Santiago is a Codal. I wasn't quite sure what Cosimo de Medici is actually a front for the United Talent Agency. So I wasn't sure I was like, I assume you're joking. I'm a bit of a literalist, so I wasn't actually sure if that was a joke or for real, but interesting. Joshua Flynn, Psycho is amazing. And Rada, thank you for the comment. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. And Bosque Gracias, who we started the show with, put out this awesome picture here of the show. It's one of my delights, and it's a humbling delight that, you know, a lot of the artists that are on this show, as I always said from the beginning of the show, the people that watch this show are the people that are on this show. And here, like, it's humbling and it's a great honor. Incredible review about this collage slides opening Pocobelli's artist journal. A powerful zoom in details connecting curiosity and processes. We feel so great to receive your review. This journal series are a must in every day. Thanks, Adrian. Thank you, Bosque. And big shout out to the family there. I'll never forget that episode where Bosque showed his kid, I think it was his kid, excited to see Dad's work on TV. Continuing, just a thank you for the comments here. And thank you, everybody, for the comments here. Yes, look at this. Just wonderful. Wonderful. Look at that. Dan Control, it's pigeon time. So this was a comment from the day before that I missed, or that maybe came late, from Authentic Waffle, or Hasdrubal Waffle. Thanks, Pocobelli, which was quite interesting in our discussion of Curio Fringe. By the way, the Curio piece is from the Synthetic Lives collection. It was a reward for burning a copy of an open edition, Twilight of the Wills to Power. Both can be seen over here. So I had no idea, so I actually brought that up. And here they are. It sounds like kind of a mix of Nietzsche's, is it Twilight of the Idols and the Will to Power, perhaps, and Desires of the Unwell Man, I'm not sure. But I brought them up. I mean, I don't know if there's volume. Oh, there is. I mean, it's pretty cool. We looked at this, I think, on the other day, like last episode, so we don't need to stay here too long, but I mean, it's avant-garde and it's fun. That's not an easy combination. Here's another one. This one we didn't see. So pretty interesting work. Twilight of the Wills to Power here from Curio Fringe. Thank you, Hasdrubal, for the extra info. And another just interesting work here. Again, kind of, this could hang in the same show as that opening work we looked at by Martin Brooke. Sweet Dream Amigos, catch you on the flip side. So another work by Curio Fringe here. Just super interesting. I mean, again, if you're not kind of like neck deep in this, you might go, well, I'm not sure what's going on here. But when you're looking at hundreds of images every day, this starts to become a pretty refined, delectable treat here. You know, again, look at the experimentation here, some brushwork, a little bit of maybe video. And actually, that's something I want to bring up here, because there was a clue here. Let me see if I can find it here. There was a clue in Curio Fringe. Maybe it's, here it is. This is what I wanted to show you. Again, Martin Brooke in relation to this. Video synth. So, you know, maybe some sort of video gear processing. Adobe Express. PR Pro. Don't remember. Premiere Pro. So, and Premiere Pro. So a little clue into what's going on here. So a lot of exporting going on here. And a lot of video. A lot of video technology. So isn't that interesting? So this finally came out. We were looking at this yesterday. So this hasn't changed here, but we see there are works here, and we see they had 15 artists. And let me just see. I brought up a few tabs here on this. So Autonomy Wallet, I think, is who kind of, I don't want to say masterminded this, but who collaborated with MoMA on the postcard, as far as I understand. MoMA Postcard is a Web3 experiment in borderless collaborative creativity that invites any and all to participate. Built with blockchain tools by the decentralized team at Autonomy, each postcard is co-owned and co-created, stamp by stamp, person by person. So I wasn't, you know, I read a fair amount about all this. I'm still not quite clear what this means, co-owned and co-created, but let's continue here. The first 15 kick off MoMA Postcard. And here are the artists here. And the first 15 traversed 35 cities, 11 countries, 5 continents. Each artist created a unique prompt, which I think of as AI, but maybe they just put a word or an idea and minted a blank card, made their first stamp, circulated their postcard chain letter style until all 15 artists stamped 15 cards. So maybe, if I understand this right, these are collaborations. Each one of these is like 15 people, if I understand that right. You can view all the stamps and journeys of the first 15 postcards at MoMA/postcard. What will you create? So they're going to be, next few weeks, we're releasing a limited number of postcards per day. To get your started, keep an eye on our Twitter or sign up. So this is quite interesting too, because it seems to me that MoMA is trying to make sure that they're not going to be left behind should this NFT digital art scene come back. And so here, sign up, give us your email, give us your Twitter, right? So pretty interesting. And again, kind of dipping their toes in the water a little bit. Right Click Save had an article, I think by the curator. Hello World, the MoMA postcard, a new project from the Museum of Modern Art, celebrates co-creation on the blockchain. Again, despite all the explanations, I'm still not clear. Like, if someone can explain in a couple of sentences what the co-creation is, I think it gets sent around. So let's quickly look at this, because maybe we get a better idea. So first we have a quote from Joseph Beuys. A total work of art is only possible in the context of the whole of society. Everyone will be a necessary co-creator of a social architecture, and so long as anyone cannot participate, the ideal form of democracy has not been reached. Whether people are artists, assemblers of machines, or nurses, it is a matter of participating in the whole. And I was reading here, Beuys, I mean, it mentions here the social sculpture, and maybe we don't have. I wish we had time. Beuys, one of my favorite works, the only work I really loved by Beuys, to be honest, was maybe we can try and find it here. Beuys Dead Hair, and it was this black and white. How to explain pictures to a dead hair. And I remember seeing this in an art history textbook, and it was like this image here. And that really captures your imagination when you're like 18 or 19 years old and you hear about Beuys and social sculptures, and then you look at this and then you go, wow, that's amazing. But, I mean, I have mixed feelings, honestly, about Beuys in the galleries these days. It's almost like maybe the work was meant to be alive. I think I saw the Beuys movie a few years ago, and I think that's where I realized, Joseph Beuys' work is meant to be it is a social work. And for those that don't know, Beuys was a very famous German artist, kind of performance artist, I guess you would say, from the 70s. I think started the Green Party in Germany. It's a great movie. And you learn a lot about Beuys, and you see that the works that you see of Beuys in, say, MoMA, there's not much to them in terms, they're fossils, they're skeletons of the actual art, I would argue. Feel free to disagree and leave a comment, but that is why they don't resonate that much, I would argue, today. Feel free to disagree. MoMA Postcard is an active, borderless, collaborative creativity powered by autonomy that invites any and all to participate. Akin to a digital chain letter and echoing Beuys' notion of social sculpture, each postcard is designed collaboratively, stamp by stamp, person by person, as it moves from one destination to the next. Reminiscent of early pixel art and paying homage to the mail art movement, participants design stamps using a 10 by 10 pixel grid. As each stamp is confirmed on the blockchain, it becomes a token of ownership, resulting in a 15-stamp postcard that is simultaneously co-created and co-owned. So I wonder, maybe you put a pixel down and then it gets sent to someone else, and then you look at the prompt and then you put a pixel down, and then it's maybe co-owned by everybody that puts a pixel down, perhaps? So it's not quite clear to me. Both the concept behind the project and its technical mechanics ask us to reconsider the role of community. So it's a reflection of the individual and the whole. So yes. So I'm not sure if because then the artists sign it, and then so you're going, well, maybe this is their work. I'm still confused. And then anyway, you can read up on it. There's a really nice article here on rightclicksave.com with all the artists talking about the project and what they thought of it and just how it went for them. And here's just some examples here of some of the works. So you see almost kind of nature-based, interestingly. I mean, you have a dog here. You have what looks like maybe a sunset here and a sunrise perhaps here. Maybe, and here's kind of a sun with flowers. So all very interesting. And I think, yeah, Grant Yoon, there are no MoMA postcards publicly for sale as of now. The tokens do exist, however, on the blockchain. They are owned by us 15 collaborating artists. Soon anyone and everyone will be able to participate in the creation and collaboration of these tokens. So I think they're jointly made, if I'm not mistaken. I personally see this as a wonderful way to introduce a novel technology and medium in a thoughtful way. This process was fun, and personally cannot wait to see the creative ways they will be used in the future. Interesting. But then here we have Dmitry Cherniak, who again made the abstract work with the goose, with all the commentary, that was all the artistic commentary that we had. I think of Sabato's work. Goose Generator, which is based on a generative art project. The outputs from this, and Dmitry Cherniak is one of the artists with the MoMA doing the digital postcards. The outputs from the software are CC0, so no copyright. I encourage you to generate, remix, print, sell, and mint them on whatever blockchain you please. And I actually brought up, there was a link there, and this link here. And then, so it's actually quite interesting. You can change the padding here, and you can change the dimensions. And then I think you can just keep clicking to get, so interesting coding from Dmitry Cherniak here with a reference to the goose. And here on the front page of object.com, we also see there are offers coming in for the works. It wasn't loading up on my screen, as you'll see here. I just get a blank, but maybe here it is. Okay, so yeah, so I'm still kind of not sure. And here are all the wallets. You see a couple of Tezos artists here, Kim Asendorf. So it is on Tezos. Uxine with the commentary. Uxine's narratives are a little complex for me sometimes. MoMA for nerds, so I'm not even sure what it means, but it sure looks cool. And I love seeing the Photoshop skull kind of moving through beautifully, almost at a diagonal here. So always interesting. And check out, I had to show you this because it's important. Again, alpha for artists. Uxine is a great designer as well as artist here. And so he just put out a website. So here it is. Nice start, just simple image. You click on the image and then you see born in 88. So younger guy here, artist designer specializing in multimedia and printmaking. So just a cool work. I feel like it's not all maybe loading up here. Let me just try again. And maybe it's works I need to click on here. Just make it. Well, it's a great website. Go to uxine.net. There we go. Works, projects. Okay. And then it shows. So actually this normally shows up. This is probably my computer has probably too much loaded on it right now. Yeah, that's my computer's fault. Okay. So go check it out. Uxine.net. Xerox, God mode. So I think I was looking at this part here, and I just wanted to make sure we saw the whole piece, kind of a correction of sorts here. So this is God Mode by Xerox. It's part of that new exhibition with Art of the Millennium. And a bit of an explanation, because I actually wasn't sure what was going on with God Mode itself being activated by a cheat code in gaming culture. Of course, I think this refers to that shooting game. Doom, I think, God Mode. I wanted to explore the concept of God as an oppressive entity, dominance and subjugation. And it takes inspiration from turn-of-the-century art and propaganda, specifically Telefunken Phillips posters of the time. There is something, especially in the follow-up work, that is very kind of 1921 about it. The highest three bidders of the 0.01 ETH reserve auction, this work here, will receive a sister piece entitled Miserere, which Misécher, which is my first Bitters edition, minted at as a 5 edition. In my mind, Misécher is the antithesis of God mode, and we'll post details on the piece. So very cool from here, and a little bit of behind the scenes here with Xerox. Look at this. We will go long if we watch all of that, but pretty cool. Check it out. Jack. I love Tezos. It's like a romantic blockchain. I thought that was great. I think there's something to be said for that. This was cool. This was sent to me. So this is an early Apple artist or designer. Suzanne Kerr was an early Apple artist who designed many of the fonts, icons, and images for Apple, Next, Microsoft, and IBM. So it looks like a pretty cool person here. And look at this. So this designer here, the lasso tool, even this disc. I mean, these are real. Even the eraser. That looks like Steve Jobs. The print. So it looks like the person who designed the spray paint. This. I mean, these are iconic icons. The Zoom, the watch, just brilliant. So is that everything? And then here, even like the Photoshop, toolbox here. There's a selection tool. There's some really great comments in here from people who are saying, the fact that she makes it look easy is basically the long and the short of it. Punk6529, the fact that anyone can look at any NFT from any computer is such an incredible step forward, such a massive public good, and a great democratizing force for art. Yeah, it's easy to forget, isn't it? So we're very lucky out here in NFT land, I think is what 6529 is trying to say, and I totally agree. Look at this. This has been a bit of a stumbling block for a lot of artists on getting onto Zora is the bridge. I've gotten a few messages. How do you bridge? I'm not an expert. Zora, create for free now on Zora. No crypto required. Connect, upload, earn ETH. So they're really opening the gates here where you don't need any ETH on Zora to mint. You don't need that $2 of ETH or that $1 of ETH to mint on the Zora blockchain. You don't need to bridge over anymore. You can just mint your work. So that's pretty cool. I love the ad. Upload imagination, earn ETH. That is really kind of the long and the short of it, isn't it? And there is a Glitch Art Festival going on, Chroma Visions. Happy to be taking part in this year's FUBAR Glitch Art Festival alongside friends and other talented artists I admire. My submitted piece for the event is Altered States. And there's John Cates. Many amazing works of glitch art will be found at the FUBAR Glitch Art Festival. And I think John Cates has been making glitch for like a decade, maybe longer. So all just kind of interesting, just kind of a heads up. I think LB put out a piece on object as part of that exhibition, I think. 8so, light suspension. So just playing with physical and digital. An edition of 5 minted to object and printed on Hanamula metallic paper. Awesome. For those that don't know, Hanamula makes some of the best, and if you want like professional art paper and you don't know where to start, look up Hanamula and start looking at their different papers. This is professional art paper. Here's some shots of the test print. The finals will be signed and number, object link below. So, and you see look at how rich that Hanamula paper, metallic paper. Interesting. Kind of feels like the right kind of paper to use for, these stills from a glitch work, seemingly. So very cool. You can go to 8so's page to learn more. Boo Boy, new painting shown in BKK soon. Not sure I'm not sure where BKK is, but I didn't realize. It made me wonder, so first of all, Boo Boy is making physical work. And then it made me wonder, like, is Boo Boy's work physical? And like you see in the background here, like makes you wonder, are the NFTs based on physical? And I don't think they are, because I feel like, but maybe it's combination, maybe it just works in both mediums. But impressive video. And again, as I like to say, like your marketing as an artist is the work in progress. That is one of your main, basically, marketing tools. Get people interested. Because all of a sudden here I'm wondering, what is going on with Boo Boy? Is this not, it looks pretty digital, but what if you could get this physical? So all just pretty interesting. Please jump human. So just posted by Boo Boy here. Look at this. Wow. Maybe it's all these massive physical works that get when you reduce them. And I thought there was maybe just a paper texture, but maybe it's real. I will try painting Big Size Brothers soon. So it's still not clear to me. And don't forget, Rare sometimes will put the work in like, we'll kind of put it in a fake gallery, so to speak, or a simulated gallery, shall we say. So I assume this is a real kind of physical work. Continuing on, Waffles Machine. So this was put out by Santiago, another JavaScript work, mint this drawing tool on Arzora Open Edition. And you can see over here, and actually I already brought it up here. Look at this. So Waffles Machine, this is a free mint, and look at how cool this is. You can just, like, all of a sudden you can make your own Santiago work. And look at this. This is opacity here. So you can kind of like make this nice like texture, right? And all of a sudden you feel like you're in the land of Ed Marola and Santiago, and it's just really cool. And then you can do the size. So all of a sudden, just very interesting. And here, this is very tiny here. So just more, look at this. And this is kind of like a big theme, I think, in the coming decades, which is artists making their own software. Really, it's like making your own brush to a certain degree. Very interesting piece here, mint for free. These could be worth a fortune one day. And who knows? I mean, like, I'm not financial advice, but this could be very, very early of a whole kind of wave of digital art making for all we know. So just very interesting, like original drawing tools, painting tools. Look at this brilliant work by RJ. A beautiful work here. This is going to be, RJ, I have to, stop myself from starting with RJ like twice a week here. I mean, look at this. Just super cool. A novel, brilliant, epic painting by RJ. And there, the signature laptop here. Huge cat. And a couple of figures here. And just, again, that very loud silence here with drapes in the middle. Interestingly, again, probably based on an AI work. Probably on Hockney. Double portrait, screen, and cat. So let's see what RJ does this time. This is going to go on Tezos, starting at Tezos. And big shout out to Bazaya. I think this went to previous owners of... I got one of these. This went to previous owners of another work by Bazaya. And so here is the new work, Natives 3.0. Will crypto be the gold of the new era? I wish so, but let's hope they don't steal it from the locals. And here we go, Bazaya sell for, you can actually, so there's an offer for 30. And so another just classic, beautiful Bazaya work here with the great textures and really cool shirt. Look at that. Look at that, super cool, like Ralph Lauren mixed with like indigenous patterning. Very cool. And there's 420 on the watch and a Bitcoin. I think we could call this crypto art because it references the ethos, so to speak, of crypto. It references crypto. So very cool work here by Bazaya on Object, edition of 20, and none available. Sold out at 20 Tezos, the other half given away to previous owners, I believe. Greco Rendo, Father. Look at this beautiful work here, edition of 10 Tezos. And I think I remember on Twitter, Greco was saying how this was like an inspiration, I believe, of a Francis Bacon, and I think you really see it maybe down here. And this is pretty funny, the cigarettes in the eyes and everything. So interesting painting from Greco Rendo. Father, maybe a portrait of the father, an interesting kind of detail here. And even the lawn chair, the floor, just very interesting work. And we have another one, a one of one, a surreal work here, empty cup with a tiny little horse on it. So just interesting work here. Let's just accept an offer of 90 Tezos from Digital Block Art. And yeah, you wonder if it's related to the previous work. Like maybe this is the dad too. And again, you see the Ralph Lauren here. And there is the horse, so interesting kind of relationship. And it's almost like this cane could also be like a jockey the thing that the jockey uses when riding the horse, perhaps. And here, just great tablecloth. Very interesting colors also. The white on the gray, like a lot of light colors being used here. There may have been temptation to put a lot of color, but I really like actually the palette on this work. The white cup, the white shirt, the light background, the white tablecloth. A subtle work here. A 1 of 1 by Greco, and that is sold for 90 Tezos. Yuri J with a cool experiment here, did some trees recently. So pretty interesting work here by Yuri J. Just super interesting leaves, interesting colors, and everything. Again, using outlines as an opportunity to try digital experiments, perhaps. And here's another one, The Myth, My Soul Drunk with Wine. We're going to have to speed up a bit here. And this is an edition of 15 for 10 Tezos, and there are 7 left here. So interesting work here on Tezos here. Kind of an abstract work by The Myth, but pretty identifiable as The Myth with these, seeming clouds in the background here. And of course the colors, the green and the pink. My Soul Drunk with Wine, great title. And here's Brooke Byram, small crowd, open edition, just a small crowd. Really nice piece here. Love the background. Really kind of brings everything together. And I love actually all these figures here. And it looks like the lines are made and then it's almost like an abstract with almost like that Keith Haring style huge marker and then just some kind of doodling, so to speak, and then taking areas and coloring them in black and white and then perhaps at the end adding the faces. And all of a sudden you have a crowd of people. Quite cool and instantly recognizable as Brooke Byram. 32 minted, 3 Tezos each. Small crowd. Really cool work from Brooke Byram. Neuve 1914. Una fleur paratie. So maybe that means a flower for you. And here is one of these gradient figures with this massive lime green gradient frame and a huge flower here. Maybe a flower for the viewer here. Edition of 3, still available. One left at 7 Tezos. This is an older work, and maybe we've seen it before. It was PP Universal. PP put this on Twitter here, or on X, Prince of Persia. And I thought this was a brilliant work. It's kind of like I do this nostalgia studies series, and I sometimes do like Karateka or Ultima 4, kind of, playing with these screenshots of video games and then use them as source. I thought this was, brilliant use of PP's style. Again, taking outlines and filling them with different kinds of textures and patterning here. I just love this piece. Again, the video game as basically as landscape or as subject matter. Really nicely done here. I've never played Prince of Persia, but this is, again, when I talk about Ultima 4, it's like people still love that game. If you look on X somewhere, you search Ultima 4, you'll probably find all these retro gamers that love it. I don't think it's the gameplay that keeps them interested. I think it's the visuals. And so we're kind of back from a different angle, from the opposite angle, not just artists who are influenced by video games and then they make their art, but where the video games themselves, I consider Ultima 4 to be I like to call it an early masterpiece of digital art. It's beautiful. And I think that's why people, including myself, keep coming back to it. And maybe that's how PP Universal feels about Prince of Persia. There's something beautiful about these works, especially when you take them as screenshots. It's like being in a landscape in, the middle of France, and you go, this is beautiful, I want to paint this. It's basically the same principle, but you're in a digital world, right? Interesting. So I just wanted, that's from April, I think, but I had to show it. Lorna Mills with a hilarious work, interesting kind of build up here. I don't know what these kind of triangles, how they are made. Honest Ensign. Lorna Mills edition of 32. So there we see the Hulk and this wonderful green here, very carefully chosen green and beautifully done here by Lorna Mills. Again, using the marquee tool as we saw in that Apple designer's toolbox there, the person that designed. So as Lorna has mentioned before, her favorite, that is the main tool she uses to make all these, organic squares. Because again, if this was all done automatically, all these squares would be the same size, but they're not. So anyway, fascinating work by Lorna Mills as usual. Françoise Gamma, Throche. Not sure if this is from 2009 or not, but it was just minted. Edition of 20 for 15 Tezos, which is usually a little more than Françoise Gamma normally charges, so maybe that's already on secondary. It's interesting how some of Françoise, this is already on secondary. This is from October 5th. It's, 3 Tezos is normally how much Françoise Gamma sells for. So it's really interesting, puts out a ton of work. It's really interesting to see the ones that fly out the door and those that just kind of hang around. It's very interesting and great artist. Fantastic. I mean, again, there's a credibility that comes from being prolific. And of course, the work is beautiful too, but I mean, very, very interesting artist. Sylva Santu's horse racing. So great subject matter here. And almost like an interesting curve here. I suspect that's the game and not Sylva Santu's, but not positive on that. So a Nintendo glitch ROM. Racing and everything like that, horses, this sort of thing. It's always exciting with these glitch ROM works. So beautiful work there. That looks like it's sold out too. Haiti Roquette, Flawless Beach Zero. So another abstract by Haiti Roquette, available for 37 Tezos, and there are 13 minted. So just using, can't remember the name of the, I want to call it Blender, but it's not Blender, using a very old software that actually Haiti, I think, gave us a clue on, Amiga 1200 Photoshop. So not exactly sure how it's made, but just another super interesting, unique work by Haiti Roquette. And a few others. We're going to catch up on Haiti Roquette a bit here. Totally RIP Lame Edition. So this is interesting. There's 4 of these. And so here you see one color. Then you see different colors. Again, as I always like to call it, the tension of digital copies here. Just change the color. And here it's, so nice low editions of 3. Super interesting. Again, I always go back to, you've heard it before, if you've heard me on this channel, it's like, is Warhol just going to do one screen print and then throw the screen away and then, clean the screen? No. Warhol would use it till practically the screen was like falling apart probably. So, so the digital side of things, you go, well, I can just reuse layer after layer after layer and make more works, remix. So it brings up really interesting questions as an artist. Haiti Roquette again, rad discs. So here, again, taking this disc and making it travel around and then doing it in a different way, right? This one going diagonal, edition of 10, and then this one, maybe applying some sort of, who knows how these are made, but maybe there's some sort of algorithm or some sort of thing that you can use that creates this kind of spiral. I'm not sure. Just cool work, though, from Haiti Roquette. Osborne is going to have a work on Object, Coalesce, October 5th via Object. So check this out. So Osborne's a pretty cool artist. Again, collaborated with Cider, and their work goes really nicely together. Kind of a wild piece here. So a quick preview on X. And this was super interesting. This is Sky Goodman. Has been putting out these like pixelated landscapes. More landscape paintings coming soon. But if you ever want to pre-order, you know where to find me. So if you want to secure one early, you can always just ask Sky, maybe if that's possible, on Twitter. And this is also Françoise Gamma, so slightly out of order here. This is posted on Instagram. I thought a beautiful work here. Beautiful, beautiful. Not sure if new, but just posted. And of course, you probably recognize the artist here, Capin. More great landscapes by Capin. Meadow. So just beautiful, and even just this nice gradient here. The tree, look at this tree and everything. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's something really special about these works by Capin. Here's another one. Looks like a door. So just experimenting, and this is what's coming out. I mean, again, Capin making it look super easy here. So just super cool work. And here's another one. I put my mouth into the cup of potion, sit down the nectar, and escape the ocean. So I took a quick look at Capin's gift shop. I didn't see this one, so maybe it'll be released. I mean, he's producing a ton and not releasing a ton, interestingly. So I'm not sure if this is an older one or being held back. And of course, Spiegel's Maskinen. So another on-chain work here. And this is called 128K. It is only 8 kilobytes stored on-chain. And this is part of the art here, is the low file size, because to mint this as a 100 kilobyte file will be way more expensive. Ordinals is the same thing. So there's a real art to be able to make cool art that's like very small file size, because then you can start to mint on chain. And that's interesting. And what that means, for those that might not know, normal NFTs they call IPFS, the International Protocol File Server, and it's this, keeps all the files kind of decentralized as far as I understand. But if somehow that goes down, you don't have a work. This thing should always remain on the blockchain, whatever happens. As long as there's an Ethereum blockchain, this thing should be renderable. Interestingly, Green Ginger, and that sold, I think, for $0.25 ETH. Let me just show you quickly here as we run through the rest of this episode here. Yeah, sold right away. Again, there's a real strong market for this on-chain business. $0.25 ETH, selling right away. These are nice price points that Spiegels is doing too. Like, these are selling, people are bidding, more, very nice price point. Green Ginger, celebration. So, of course, we saw the bumper cars the other day, and here is a pixelated city with fireworks and a beautiful gradient dithered frame here. Interesting buildings here with the long kind of stripes here, long lines, long pixel lines. And what's also beautiful about this is is that kind of gradient in the background here with the flashing as the fireworks go. Just beautiful work for Tezos, edition of 15 on Tezos. On Object. Roller coasters. Chaz. So a new work, playing again with the retro computers, and often we've seen Tetris, we've seen Pac-Man, and now we see what looks like a roller coaster. And someone eating at their desk. Who can't relate to that? I can totally relate to eating at my computer here. I try not to do it. But it's a portrait of modern life, shall we call it? Edition of 20 for $433, and that is on secondary, so sold out on primary. Gangoya and Manidal, cool collaboration, two great, or Manidal being the pixel artist, and Gangoya often doing these figures in profile, has collaborated with a ton of artists. Maybe we can bring it up here. G. Wicker with Meow. And hand pixelated in 40 frames animated. So 24 Tezos, edition of 24, and that is on secondary. So you see Gangoya, and we've looked at Gangoya's work before. He's collaborated with Uxine and many, many artists on the blockchain. Ugo and OK Digital, cheat code for money and weapons. So PS3 controller here. So again, using that cool new style that Ugo has figured out here and animating it quite nicely too. So celebrating the game controller of the PlayStation 3 controller, cheat code for money and weapons. And that looks like it's sold out actually on primary. Primary at $750, there are 13 left. A Sniper's Silent Confession, Explainer Gallery, A Narrator, and NativeEd. So, of course, A Narrator often works with Explainer Gallery in the collaborations here, and then NativeEd has this great TV and puts A Narrator's work inside the TV. Does a lot of 3D work, NativeEd, so cool collaboration here. Smart solution. LB. So this is, I believe, LB tweeted out or put a post out that this would be part of that Fubar glitch exhibition we were looking at. Don't Wake Me Up This Time. A really rich, beautiful analog glitch here, and I just never get tired of synths and palm trees. Here it looks like palm trees on a desert island, really highly textured and beautiful. And continuing on, Scamra with an open edition, Ode OX3. So this is interesting, created with stable diffusion and diffusers, textual inversion. So kind of pushing this whole stable diffusion textual inversion process that Scamra has been doing here. Interesting frame here and everything. So just more interesting work from Scamra. Our collector of the month here. And here, probably a lot of you saw this. Alpha artists, including me, have been testing MProps Open Studio for months. This is Christopher Robbins. And now you can mint our first drops. Check out my project Field. So 100 editions. So I believe, if memory serves, MProps was the company or the organization that worked with Santiago, I believe, on that Bodyworks series. And we're going to see Santiago working again. Even the website looks familiar. So Emergent Properties here, mprops.ai. And this is Ile. Islay Artist, Ice Cream, You Scream, We All Scream for Ice Cream. So there are 69 generated, 31 minted. So I believe they're opening up what was maybe closed, as Christopher Robbins was pointing out. Look, MProp's open market beta. So they're opening this up to the masses here, and people are not wasting any time. And as you can see here, just cool works by Islay as the ice cream theme, kind of a 1950s Coca-Cola, the theme parks and everything. Look at how beautiful that one is. Beautiful. Shout out to Islay, and here they are on Object. MProp's Open Studio, built to be simple, fast, and flexible. MProp's Open Studio is an additive and intentional approach to modern creativity. So I guess you go to their website to find out more, and it looks like it all has the tag MProps, and you can see everything on the Tezos page here. Here's Santiago with this really cool series, Art as a Job. Great title. Love the title. Kind of reminiscent of that William Burroughs book of interviews, The Job. Love that title. I even called a DJ mix The Job. I love it. It can mean so many things. I mean, for Burroughs, for me, it kind of meant like the job was what he was doing. In a sense, this is the job for me. Yeah. So, yeah, great. Nothing like a great title. So these are, I don't know how many were minted, but this is number 188. I just picked up a couple here in passing. So again, this looks like a really cool series here. Artists at Work, right? And all these great synths, retro, it looks like AI for sure, right? Pretty nice piece. 17 Tezos. And here's another one. I guess these kind of minted out. Art as a Job on MProp's open market beta. 500 unique tokens, only 1 Tezos. Mint starts now. So this sold out, I think. So nice haul for Santiago there. And here is another work. Again, just artist studios. It's brilliant. It's amazing. And here, Little Cakes. Original short from Soft Sounds collection by Little Cakes here. So I'm not exactly sure how these are being made. I'll have to try MProp Studio, add it to the list of things to do, but great composition, isn't it? AI art, Little Cakes. You can tell here, looks pretty AI-ish. Great composition. Here's another one by Little Cakes, and cool synths, and like maybe a CD DJ player, piano. Eek Longform is so nerve-wracking. Listening station now on MProps. Fingers crossed they come out pretty. Well, they sure did. And here they are, one more by Little Cakes, listening station number 42 on MProps, and they even have the Maximize here. Doing a really nice job here. MProps.ai. And some more AI strange thing as we wrap up here. Combining ancient Greek-inspired modern footwear. So modern footwear with ancient Greek architecture. And even like these, what do they call these? We'll have to look this up. I mean, it's not shallow relief. This is actually a deep relief. This is reminiscent to the thing you find, which name is escaping me right now, the thing you find on top of the Parthenon. I mean, there's this thing on top of the Parthenon, and they're very famous. They're actually in England, in the British Museum, controversially. It's a bit of a sticking point with the government of Greece, actually. They want it back. And if you ever go to Athens, which I highly recommend you do, if you go to the Parthenon Museum, you'll see they have a spot in the whole museum, which is just ready, like it's like drawn on the wall, where this is where this belongs. The name is escaping me, but where they have it all ready and it's quite obvious. And then they have a video also about what terrible people the British Museum are for not returning them. So anyway, great work by Strange Thing. Ken Exapta, GM, look at this. So the second track of my Lo-Fi Air AI radio is on object.com. So I mean, pretty cool. So I don't know, I have no idea what this is, but it looks pretty darn cool. Lo-Fi AI radio on object.com. Ken Exapta, pushing the boundaries. And another beautiful work, kind of a Renaissance structure here, by Rune Christensen. We've looked at a lot of Rune Christensen's work over the past few weeks. Here's just another super interesting one. Remember the neon orange, neon pink, neon orange backgrounds instead of, your traditional 19th or 18th century sepia? Really, and you see it kind of, revealed here around the outlines. A really interesting painter. And instead of like, saints in the Roman Catholic tradition, here you have tigers, almost reminiscent of a completely different, tradition. So just really cool and beautiful, just stunningly beautiful. If you get the chance, go see these works in person. This is at Coquelet Gallery. Let's just quickly see where that is. In Paris. So these are look, I think that's Rune Christensen there. So yeah, very cool. And this was interesting too. So this was Die with the Most Likes. And remember, I was thinking out loud with the Beef Broth Co. Beef Broth Co. series that it looks like AI. But then I saw this and I was like, well, what's this? This is like the physical work. And I wonder if this is the source. And then AI kind of remixed that thing a million times. And then you had Die with the Most Likes works. So just interesting. This is a new one delving back. Yeah, so keeping it vague there. Fondo, Nuv 1914. So a physical work minted by Nuv 1914. You see a little piece of canvas and just some beautiful, careful painting, very similar to the digital style here, which I find super interesting. From Nuv 1914, just really interesting artist, Caminatol, if I'm pronouncing that right. So again, this looks like a digital work that's being rendered in paint. So just super interesting and so beautifully and carefully painted here. It's beautiful. And look at this brilliant, brilliant work by Walk. Tom and Jerry. This is Jerry. I believe it's Jerry from Tom and Jerry. Free mint for another 4 days. Look at how good this is. Like, what a fun series. We saw the Weird Bugs Bunny. We saw a couple of others. This is a great, great, great series. Like, I just can't say enough about Walk's work. Just amazing, amazing. I mean, Joao Salazar, Compressed Narratives number 14. I mean, great title here. This museum that we go through here 4 times a week. And look at this Play-Doh or plasticine in a box here. So just a brilliant, again, it's reminiscent of, I remember having a show at Factory Berlin here maybe 5 years ago, maybe 6. And a friend of mine that worked at Esther Schipper, Tom, I was just like, yeah, come check out the show. Tell me what you think. So he checked it out and he came back. He's like, you know what I think you need? There's a couple of works there I really liked. You know what I think you need is a sculpture. You should make a sculpture. That'll give you more range, just from a PR perspective. It'll give you more kind of heft as an artist. And so when I see Joao, who's made these brilliant paintings and kind of digital, plasticine paintings as well. And then when I see this, I go, sculpture, smart. It just makes it look like, okay, this person's got a lot of heft. Just adds to the credibility. So just more super and interesting, cool work by Joao Salazar. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me this far. Until next time, take care.